This is the G.I. Joe Retaliation Ultimate Storm Shadow. The figure is part of the 3.5 wave of the G.I. Joe Retaliation 3 3/4 figures. And here's a look at the packaging. Ninja fighting action. I'll show you what they mean by that in a while. So very nice. Again, if you've seen my other Ultimate figures review, these figures are supposedly movie figures that were meant to be homages of the classics, versions of those particular figures. In particular, this particular Storm Shadow is a movie, sort of a movie figure that was meant to look like how he did back in the 80s in the old cartoon. I mean, I've always been a big fan of Storm Shadow. Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes were my favorite characters back then. My brother had Snake Eyes. I had Storm Shadow. I loved Storm Shadow. My old figure is now crappy. It's yellow, lost all the weapons. But that was one figure that I carried. One of the figures I carried with me all the time. I love Storm Shadow as a character and as a toy. Now, I wanted to pick up the old classics version of Storm Shadow, just like Snake Eyes, but the price was just so restrictive. So if you did miss out on the 25th anniversary Storm Shadow, this is not a bad figure to actually pick up. It's a nice substitute for that. It's not exactly like that, but it's a nice rendition and homage to that figure. If you already have that, this is a nice update of that particular figure, and it is not, it's not too terrible to have two of these guys in your collection. So, paint apps, phenomenal. The only thing you should be wary about in terms of paint apps is his eyes. Make sure, like this one, I've seen figures that have really dorpy, just staring out, super like, whoa, like staring, like wide-eyed. Like this one's not too bad. The right eye is a little bit wide-eyed, but overall, it's very nice. Sculpt wise, again, as I said, I'm a big fan of this. It's just such an homage to the 80s look of Storm Shadow, and I am just loving this figure, everything about this figure, all the sculpt that they've done with this figure. Paint apps are great. Sculpt, while on the subject of the sculpt, let's talk about his articulation. He's got a ball jointed neck, ball jointed upper torso, ball hinge shoulders, elbows, and wrists. This wrist goes in and out. This wrist goes up and down. He's got a ball jointed hip, double jointed knees, ball hinge ankles with rocker joints. So isn't that cool? It's a nice update. Again, because I think the old 25th anniversary Storm Shadow did not have rocker joints. So very, very cool. On to his accessories. This was the most peculiar accessory that he had. Well, sorry, before we go with that, let me just show you that he does have a replaceable head. This is a movie head. I'm pretty sure of that. It looks like Byung-Hyun Lee. And definitely a movie head. And he's got those Jubilee eyes. The Marvel Universe Jubilee eyes. So he's kind of freaky. Don't understand why they had to resculpt the old one. No, this one's okay, but he's not gonna be in that. Let me take this out. They've also updated this figure. Part of the update was really making this thing not sculpted in molded. It's now a removable piece, I think, as well as this one. So very, very nice. Comes obviously with a dog tag base. So this is how G.I. Joe figures should be. And just tons of articulation, tons of accessories, a base, and none of the kiddie stuff. But this is I think this one is the one. This is the kiddie stuff version of this particular figure. But anyway, I digress too much. Sorry, going back to my story about the fan. This was the most peculiar one, not because it's a fan. I mean, in ancient times, the fan was a weapon, not just for the female, but for the male warrior. It was a very deadly weapon because you could conceal it as just an ordinary object. It's a fan, but some would have blades. Some would actually even use the fan as a blade. But if memory serves me right, this is not a ninja's weapon. It could be, but I think they had a different set. This one is a kung fu weapon. This is a Chinese assassin's weapon, I think. I'm not sure. I mean, if you want to see this thing in action, you just watch all the old kung fu movies back in the 70s, or the man with the iron fists, RZA. That movie had the character of Ming Na, not Ming Na Wen, Charlie's Angel. I forgot her name. You know what I'm saying. Her character had the fan. It was amazing how she used it. So that's probably just the most peculiar weapon. So he's got the head. Okay, now going back to his backpack. The backpack is such a nice homage to how the old backpack looked. I mean, they've updated it. They've given it the Arashikage insignia right there. They've given it a bigger pocket, I suppose. The quiver has a bigger pocket. Does it open? Yes, absolutely. It still does open. I'd forgotten about that. You can't. Oh, I didn't even notice this. So you can put the arrow there. Oh, they're like. No, sorry. That's for the bow and arrow. Supposedly for the bow and arrow, or for any other accessory you may have. Come on now. Because if I remember correctly, the old Storm Shadow, you were able to connect the bow and arrow onto the back of the backpack, but apparently on this one you can't, or you shouldn't. Anyway, I'm sure another weapon will fit in there. That's why I just put it right here. So that's interesting. So they've given him bow and arrow, which made of rubbery plastic. You can pose him with it if you wanted to. So that's nice. The double sheath on the backpack is still present. So he's got these two katanas, which is really what made the old 80s figure so amazing for me, because he's got those two swords, and those were the only weapons I really cared about for that particular figure. I had lost the bow, I don't even have an arrow. So very, very nice. It's a nice tribute. It's a nice update. I love that particular accessory. God, losing light. So anyway, and finally, he's got this little bag of tricks. They've I'm not even gonna show you every single weapon, but just to give you an idea of how much weapons this guy. He's got two sais. Which I think the old Storm Shadow figures had. So like that. I mean, if you have an Elektra figure, oh my gosh, this would be pretty awesome. If you had lost the size, that would be awesome. He's got this sort of grappling hook, not grappling hook, but this sort of spear tip. You can put the chain on. He's got these nunchucks. He's got some throwing stars, ninjutsu stars, and he's even got these spikes. Which I'm not even gonna go point out. He's got these darts. I mean, just look at that. Just an amazing array of little small weapons. I don't think you should be giving this to your kid, for if he's like under 8 years old or 10 years old. Because 4 years old, that's ridiculous. I mean, he's gonna lose all these weapons. So I think this figure is strictly for the collector, for the enthusiasts of G.I. Joe, and particular fans of Storm Shadow. I don't think this is for kids. But having said that, with such detail, I mean, if you're a big fan of the old 80s G.I. Joes and you love the toys and you're looking for a great update on classic Storm Shadow, this is a must pick up figure. I mean, I told myself I'm never going to go back to the old 80s figures, but which I never did. Never got around to hunting down the 25th anniversary ones. But this, I just decided I'm going to stick with the movie figures, and that's it. And I'm just so glad that the part of the movie line was an homage to the 1980s Storm Shadow. And I am blown away by this figure. If I can give it an 11, 12 out of 10, I would. It is a 10 out of 10 for me. Unbelievable figure. Now, before we go, here's the last bit of accessory I wanted to show you. You may think it's big, it's huge. Come on, should have been like a smaller jetpack, like what he had for Pursuit of Cobra. It does plug in onto his back. If you can just give me some time to sort of fit it. Yeah, it should right there. It should plug in. So anyway, yeah, there we go. So you're saying, oh my god, it's too huge. But if you did have a rocket jetpack, this is probably the size you'd probably get to strap on your back, because you need enough propane, you need enough fuel and propulsion to really blast. You're literally strapping yourself to a rocket. It's got these fold-out delta wings, so that's very nice. Nice. I'm glad they're painted on. They're not decals, so very nice. So you can display him this way. You can play with him this way. I'm glad it's not those repelling things. Or you can move him like this. Give him like a ninja stance like that. I'll show you in a minute why. So like that. And then literally you just take this and you push, and then it spins him into his ninja move. Hi-ya! Hi-ya! I mean, yeah, stupid. Ninjas don't do that. I mean, it's cheesy, but I'm really sort of beginning to like it. I mean, look at that. You get tons of playability with this one. Look at that. You can kick Snake Eyes' butt. If you go ahead and put it back here, it locks the whole mechanism. It doesn't do anything. So very, very nice. I'm sorry I had to extend this particular review, but it's an amazing, amazing toy, amazing figure, especially for collectors. Not for kids, definitely, but for collectors and enthusiasts of the old classics characters, particularly Storm Shadow, and even for movie enthusiasts. I'd highly recommend this one. So there you go, folks. I hope you've enjoyed this video review. If you did, please click the thumbs up icon on the bottom. Follow me on Twitter for my toy purchases, Instagram for my toy sightings, Geek for my mini toy hauls. All my video reviews are going to be, from now on, be on my Shuffletron channel. My old FX France channel will have only vlogs. G.I. Joe Retaliation, the ultimate Storm Shadow. Thanks for watching.